You know, in our over 100 reviews that we've done, Tomas, I've reviewed Elimination Chamber pay-per-views before, but we've never done it ZNT. Like,
No,
it's
no,
crazy. Crazy that it took this long because,
2020,
yeah,
you weren't doing your
2020.
reviews in 2020.
No. Well, until the pandemic started and everything like that.
Yeah.
21, when it was in the Thunderdome, it was my buddy Chris with me doing the review, and I miss him so much. And
we
then
both miss him, and
we both miss him.
Three-man booth.
Chris, oh man, I hope you're doing well, buddy. And last year was the Blood Money show, so we refused to review the Blood Money shows. So now we get an Elimination Chamber proper, emanating from the Bell Center in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, a very infamous wrestling city, and a very hyper wrestling crowd. What's up?
Oh, absolutely. Fun fact about last year's WrestleMania Elimination Chamber. I was in Disneyland, and I knew the pay-per-view was happening in the morning.
God.
I was literally on my way walking to the parks with my phone in my hand because I was so anxious about Roman Reigns and Goldberg that I just had to watch that match before I did anything that day. So I'm literally walking down the street, looking up, make sure I don't run into people, and I'm watching Reigns and Goldberg on my phone. The minute that was done, I'm like, okay, I can enjoy my day at Disney now because I know that Goldberg didn't win the title.
So he's going. So just to put this in hindsight, my friends, Tomas is walking to rope drop, and he's got Peacock on him, and he's just watching Roman Reigns versus Goldberg, of all things, on the way to rope drop. That is an image that cannot leave your head after he describes it.
Because I was so fucking anxious, and I had to know who won that match before I could enjoy my day.
Well, anytime Vince McMahon booked Goldberg in a world title match in the 2020s, we were all on the edge of our seats. But
we're not talking about Vince McMahon book show. We're talking about Triple H's very first booked Elimination Chamber. I got WrestleMania on mind, ladies and gentlemen. I'm ready to go to LA. I'm ready to enjoy my time.
Me
but this
too,
is the last
man.
stop on the road to WrestleMania. And like you said, this is Triple H book. This was very anticipated because the main event is Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Sami Zayn's on fire right now. He's the most over babyface in the company. They're in Montreal.
Yes.
The crowd is jacked. The SmackDown prior to Elimination Chamber, he got a hero's welcome. They cheered for him so loud that he couldn't speak. It was very reminiscent of Hulk Hogan returning to SmackDown in 2002, where they cheered so long they had to go to a commercial break.
In that same building.
Yeah, exactly.
In that same building. So
yes, this is a very anticipated pay-per-view. But before we get to the main event, we got some matches. It's called Elimination Chamber. So we're opening up with an Elimination Chamber to determine the number one contender for the Raw Women's title. You got Asuka, Raquel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan, Nikki Cross, Natalia, and Carmella in this thing. And a very interesting field of people. You got people representing both Raw and SmackDown, which doesn't make sense to me because it's for the Raw Women's title. But that really narrowed down the field for me because there was no way. People were talking about Morgan. People were talking about Rodriguez. Guys, it's the Raw Women's Championship. Unless they plan on moving these girls to Mondays full time, it wasn't going to happen.
It is the Raw Women's Championship, but you also got to remember that basically they booked the last four competitors eliminated from the Women's Rumble match automatically into the Chamber match, despite brand assignment. So you were going to get Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez in here regardless. I would have much rather maybe a Piper Niven fill in one of these spots, but I kind of understand why you put Natalya in here because it's Canada, and you also put Carmella in here because she's fresh off of a return, and I'm happy to see that she's doing a lot better after the mental struggles that she was going with a year ago. But
absolutely, but the two women to start off this match is the hometown girl Natalya and Liv Morgan, who I've noticed after the Royal Rumble, after this match, and especially after late last year, she has been booked as kind of like the Iron Woman. She has been the workhorse.
Yes.
She lasted over an hour in the Royal Rumble match, and now here she is starting off the Elimination Chamber where she could potentially be in there up to a half hour. So I really like this gritty, this Iron Woman, style that WWE is booking her in, because as you know, her run with the SmackDown Women's Championship was very lackluster. I feel like she was caught in a very awkward spot. She started off in the tail end of the Vince McMahon era where she had the Money in the Bank briefcase, and Vince, for whatever reason, wanted the briefcase to be cashed in by the women the same night every single year. So she cashed in on Ronda Rousey.
So fucking predictable.
Yeah, and there was this awkward run of she's this little fish surrounded by sharks. Shayna Baszler, Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey, and it was
Charlotte wasn't even back yet. She
Yeah, but with the
only defended against Ronda and Shayna, like through 3 pay-per-views. Like,
but Flair was also in the back of everybody's mind during this run. And unfortunately, Morgan had to drop the title back to Ronda Rousey at Extreme Rules. And ever since then, it's been rough, but I like this, this gritty exterior for Morgan. Natalya got a nice pop. She's starting to dress more like her dad, which is awesome. She's got the hair, she's got the shoulder pads. And this was a nice little exchange between Natalya and Morgan to start off this match.
I definitely agree, man. Natalya was vicious to Liv Morgan, like absolutely stiff, throwing her into the pod on the outside, and the Canadian bloodthirsty fans were chanting one more time for Natalya to do it to Liv Morgan. It was, nuts. You people are bloodthirsty. What's the matter with you?
Absolutely. I think next up in the match is Raquel Rodriguez, the big beefy babyface. Yeah, she runs in. She's running amok on everybody. If there is one complaint I do have about this Elimination Chamber, they did the head in between the chain spot, I think 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And it didn't really look good when they did it to Morgan, but I think Rodriguez did it to Natalya next, and it looked a little better. But later on in the match, they did it again, and it's just like, okay, the first time they did it, it's a cool visual. It's a vicious visual. But when you do it 2 or 3 times, it's like, I know you can't do blood in these chambers, and you're very limited to what spots you can do. And in the men's and the women's, we're going to see like those spots replicate a little better in the men's, but it got a little repetitive in the beginning of this match. Not going to lie.
Yeah, it absolutely did. But then in the back of my mind, as I'm watching this match, I'm also like, okay, so they're getting all the publicity shots for next year's Elimination Chamber video package to promote the event out of the way now. And then you can actually get into the meat of the match, which is, okay, who is going to WrestleMania to face Bianca Belair?
Yeah.
Rodriguez
with an excellent feat of strength here. She's got Morgan in a fall-away slam position, and she's got Natalya on her shoulders for a Samoan drop, and she's able to toss both of them into the cage wall. This woman is a freak of nature. And
I have a question for you then. What's Raquel Rodriguez's gimmick? Like, does she need, like... Her shoulders are her gimmick. Yeah, that's the whole joke right there. But number 4, there's some near falls in there, is Nikki Cross, who I'm a huge fan of, and she was absolutely a house of fire, even during her entrance. I even look over at Tomas because I was watching the show with him live, and I was like, she just sprinted into the Elimination Chamber. That is crazy. Like, nobody else has ever done that, I don't think.
You know what? I know I defended the gimmick in the past, and I know the Nikki ASH character was her idea, but the idea was not implemented well at all, and she kind of fell into purgatory. But you can tell in this Psycho Scott sanity gimmick, she just thrives so much better. And you can see there has just been life pumped into Nikki Cross ever since she got the gimmick changed, because she is just all over the place, and there's a lot more room for her to grow here, as opposed to tossed into random women's tag teams in this superhero gimmick that Shane Helms blessed her with, by the way, which I thought was awesome. But when you book her to win the women's championship, but she gets pinned and pinned and pinned and pinned to the point where, what am I rooting for anymore? So this was, again, very nice breath of fresh air.
Yeah, it was really, really fun. She actually does hit a flying crossbody off the top of the pod like a lunatic onto all 3 women that are in the match actively. That had me jumping out of my chair, and it had all of our party jumping out of our chair, essentially. It was really cool.
Up next is Carmella, who they booked very strong in this match. I've been a Carmella defender most of her career. She has been the victim of many, many gimmick changes, from the Princess of Staten Island to whatever burlesque, elegant gimmick they went through, kind of transformation back into the Princess of Staten Island. I wish they'd go back to her old theme, because, that theme was a bop. They're kind of getting there, but it's nice to see Carmella back into her true form. But here, she's immediately hiding in other pods. She's taunting Asuka, which is a very bad idea, but she goes to hide into one pod. And then I think that's when Rodriguez slammed Cross through a pod. So Carmella was able to escape there, and she goes to hide in another pod. But here's my issue with that. So as you know, before the pods are released, they're kind of latched in. But after that, the pods it's a sliding door. You can open wherever you want. What's stopping any of these women from just sliding the door open? They're not locked. There's no chain.
Yeah, they're not locked at all.
Putting herself in a pod.
Yeah.
After watching this show twice, 2 days in a row, that really bothered me. It really, really bothered me.
It bothers Tomas's OCD with the Elimination Chamber doors. But and here's another big issue, man. Kevin Dunn strikes again with his impeccable timing skills. So they show the replay of Nikki Cross getting slammed through the pod, and as the replay is being shown, Nikki Cross is pinned and eliminated. And I'm like, what? You got to go back and show me that. Please.
Not only that, but Michael Cole, I don't know if is something going on, if he's having an off weekend, but he is calling moves wrong in this match, and he said that Nikki Cross kicked out.
I don't know.
Like,
what was he half asleep watching this?
Yeah, and then later on in the match, if we to jump around a little, so there has been this thing where I didn't notice it on SmackDown, or maybe I did, I don't know. He called the code breaker the Oblivion, and Wade Barrett corrected him on that. In this match, Liv Morgan hits a code breaker on somebody. I'm not sure who it was, and Michael Cole calls it the Code Red, which, as we all know, is a a sunset flip powerbomb. Yep. So I'm just like, does Michael Cole just not want to call it the code breaker? Does he have that much disdain for Chris Jericho that he's just going to call this move wrong every single time?
Kevin Owens getting help from a friend at the Royal Rumble 2017. But speaking of sunset flip power bombs, I would like to also mention Liv Morgan's beautiful sunset flip power bomb off the top of the pod onto Raquel Rodriguez. That was a sick spot. My favorite spot of this match, if you ask me.
Yeah, she was definitely the Iron Woman in this match. And I hope after everything is said and done with WrestleMania that Triple H remembers Liv Morgan and how much
she gets a direction
she's putting in. Absolutely. Like, draft her to Raw after this. When we get, a new draft. Like,
it really doesn't feel like she has a WrestleMania match, does she?
She doesn't. And that's going to be a discussion maybe for later on in the pod, but there's a lot of wrestlers right now that don't have WrestleMania directions. I think it's time to bring back the Women's Battle Royal. Don't name it after anyone, or maybe name it after someone who deserves it a little more. But again, I totally agree with you. But the real story of the night, everyone's favorite pick, the murder clown Asuka, is released, and she is an absolute house of fire. She immediately goes for Carmella, beats the absolute piss out of her, and there are just kicks and German suplexes and just absolute brutality throughout this entire chamber. Asuka is fucking awesome. Nobody was ready for Asuka in this match.
I'm still not ready for Asuka, man, but Liv Morgan and Asuka have a nice exchange. She goes for the Oblivion, and Asuka kicks her as hard as she freaking can in the head. Liv is putting the sharpshooter. Asuka puts on an Asuka lock, and just like at Extreme Rules, Liv Morgan passes out in a double submission with a huge smile on her face. And I'm like, Absolutely. What is happening here? What is happening here?
I get that can be frustrating to watch, but at the same time, again, this is Morgan's new gimmick. She doesn't give up. As much as I don't want to say this name right now because of the news, she's kind of like the female Jeff Hardy. She's like the female Bryan Danielson, or, that Super Cena mentality of, I'm not going to tap out. You're going to have to maybe pass out to get me out of this match. So I did think they made her look as strong as they could in this match. But, Natalya is the hometown girl. They wanted to keep her in there as much as possible.
Yeah. But shortly after that, freaking Carmella hits a super kick on Natalya, and that's it. That's all she wrote for Natalya. That's her night. But we also have Raquel getting roundhouse kicked and quickly eliminated by Carmella and Asuka. Is it just me, or were the eliminations towards the end of this match kind of rushed?
They kind of were. And looking back on this was only 20 minutes. I feel like they could have given these ladies maybe 5 or 10 minutes, considering it is a chamber match. But and the thing with Rodriguez is, if she's the big hoss of this match, I feel like, and I get Asuka's kicks are lethal, and Asuka and Carmella did have a temporary alliance to eliminate Rodriguez, but I just would like to see a little more dominance from Rodriguez. To go back to Rodriguez real quick, I feel like she suffers from something I like to call Apollo Crews syndrome. She has a fantastic look. She is great in the ring. She has the power. She has everything. But that goddamn smile. Apollo Crews did the same thing. You look at Apollo Crews and Raquel Rodriguez, I mean, Crews back in like 2016, not now. But you look at them and you're not scared of them. You want to be their friend. You want to go catch a movie and a fight with Apollo Crews. You want to go bowling with Raquel Rodriguez. You're not intimidated by them. So I get Rodriguez is, I get it. I really do. But maybe, I don't know. Her smile is too pretty.
Maybe give her a little bit more edge like she had in NXT.
$1 million smiles. Those two could easily be on as many covers of magazines as they want. But I just feel like that hurts him. And it definitely affects the personality of Rodriguez because unfortunately she doesn't have one.
Does not give them any edge whatsoever. But
no.
Carmella and Asuka are the final two in this match. And honestly, like putting these two next to each other, it's kind of written in stone who it's going to be going to WrestleMania, isn't it? There were a few close calls. They were teasing us that, oh my God, are we actually going to get Bianca versus Carmella again? Like, because we've seen that match, and it's been mid at best. So,
you know, and as many times as we've seen it, and has they used her as the bait and switch at SummerSlam prior to Becky Lynch's return, I get it because Carmella knows how to get heat.
Yes.
And that's probably the best thing about her. And she's not bad in the ring. I'm just saying her most defining trait is that she knows how to get heat. And just the fact that I had that little tiny itty bit of anxiety just means like Carmella's doing great. And they were protecting her very much in this match. Like they were protecting her from spots and they saved her into the very end to get eliminated. I don't know if they're trying to stay good on Corey Graves' good side, or I don't know, maybe Carmella is just a really pleasant person backstage.
Oh, Corey Graves was simping over Carmella so hard in this match. And
as he should. Carmella is probably thrilled that Mandy Rose is not in WWE anymore. Let me just say.
Easy there, Tiger. But so Asuka pretty much makes Carmella tap out to the Asuka lock, and that's all she wrote, my friend. I am very excited to see Bianca versus Asuka live at WrestleMania. I think it should be a killer match. It could honestly go either way. No pun intended, but absolutely the right person went over in this. It was a fun chamber match for what it was. There were a few messed up spots here and there, but I'm comfortable giving it 3.5, maybe 3 3/4. It was fun.
Very, very solid work. I don't think there was a weak link in this match. Rodriguez brought the power. Natalya was the hometown girl. Cross brought her crazy spots. Carmella looked pretty good in this match. Asuka is absolutely amazing. And Liv Morgan, she's the Iron Woman. And I will say she's my MVP for this match. Get 3.5 stars here. And let me address something that's bugging me. Guys,
go ahead.
Just because Asuka has new face paint and new music doesn't mean she's a heel. I've been seeing that all over the place. Well, Asuka's heel now. Asuka turned heel. I'm like, what has she done to be a heel?
Exactly.
She's still very much over with the crowd. And I like this babyface matchup we're going to get at WrestleMania. And I feel like it needs to divide the crowd because you have Asuka, who is a house of fire right now, and you have Bianca Belair, who has almost held the title for a year. Me personally, I want to see Asuka dethrone Belair, but that's going to be one hell of a match.
Yeah, I think it'll be a coin flip, honestly, to pick a winner there. But I mean, Bianca winning, I wouldn't mind it, but with Asuka's new character and how dominant she looks, like the NXT black and gold version of Asuka with a more killer edge to her, like I'm edging more towards Asuka. But this is not the WrestleMania predictions video, of course. This is Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, I will say Asuka still needs to get her win back from WrestleMania 2018. So I think this is the perfect opportunity to do it.
Don't remind me, man. Don't remind me. Well, she's not wrestling Charlotte Flair. Someone else is going to get their win back over Charlotte. But anyhow, you ready to get upset? This is the the match itself is not what I'm upset about. Let me just be perfectly clear about this. But one more time, we get Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley on this card. Brock Lesnar working a B pay-per-view. You never really see this these days. But
he's going on second.
Yep. They had to continue this story that was formulated so well from Crown Jewel onwards. Bobby Lashley eliminated Lesnar handily in the Royal Rumble match. So what we get here, Brock Lesnar, oh man, Cowboy Brock Lesnar is hit or miss for some people, but I just love how he slips into a southern accent in his promos for no reason. And then he's talking about, I go to sleep with my wife for 4 to 5 hours, and all I can think about is Bobby Lashley. That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
that Lashley gets on his mind like that.
So there's a lot. This is a whole can of worms I'm going to open up with this match now. Yep. First issue. These guys have double turned on each other, I feel like 3 or 4 times in the span of 6 months. So
who's the baby face?
Let's go back to last year. Let's chronologically.
Who's the baby face?
What we're going to talk about is going to take a lot longer to talk about than the actual match. So in the Royal Rumble 2022, they were both heels. Clearly, they were both heels. Lashley went over. Lashley then turned babyface, and when they were going into the Crown Jewel match, Lesnar screwed Lashley out of the United States title. So Lashley was the face and Lesnar was the heel. Clearly, going into Crown Jewel, Lashley dominated like he was the heel, and Lesnar was trying to get the babyface sympathy. He got the quick win, and then Lashley beat the shit out of Lesnar, giving him more babyface sympathy. So they did a double turn there. Lashley continues on to be a tweener, basically. And then when Lesnar returns, it's still kind of like the Lashley's a heel and Lesnar's a face dynamic. And then we get to this pay-per-view, and to get into this match, which I don't know why this match is even happening at Elimination Chamber when WrestleMania is literally a month away, but in this match, Lashley is more like the babyface, and Lesnar is the heel. And in the build-up, it was still more of Lashley as the heel and Lesnar as the face. So
and you know what the other kicker is? Sorry to cut you off, but you know what the other kicker is on that note? Bobby Lashley is having his badass entrance. He's walking to the ring, and he's still doing this with the people. Like, if he's a heel, you do not do the fist bump to that music. Bobby Lashley's been in this. Bobby Lashley's been in this business a long time, so I feel like he would know better than to interact with the crowd like that if he was a heel.
He's still slapping high fives with fans, and then literally a week prior to this match, Lashley is refusing to sign the contract, and he's got security surrounded around him. He has his feet up on the desk and saying, like, I'm not coming down there. Very heel tactics. But in this match, let's get into this match because there's not a lot to say about it. And you know what? After listening to some reviews, I understand this. Brock Lesnar, ever since he returned in 2012, his matches have been very formulaic. And we've seen dozens upon dozens of Lesnar matches since he's returned. And it's literally just spam finishers. How many F5s until the person goes down? How many spears? How many attempts at the hurt lock? It's like whoever is facing Lesnar, whatever moves you have in your arsenal, cut them all out. You're doing finishers for 10 minutes.
It's
and
like
not even because these guys got like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's like less than 5 minutes actually. It's an exhibition match in SmackDown. Here Comes the Pain come to real life, and you maxed out your finishers on the select characters screen, and then they just go in the ring and they hit as many finishers as they can. Bobby Lashley is hitting 2 spears from the get-go. Lesnar's hitting an F5 for a nice near fall there. Hits a second F5. Lashley kicks out again. And then what happens?
Here's my thing. If Lesnar's going to stick to this formula that is very played out, how weak does that make his finisher look? The F5. When Lashley and Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins and John Cena and Triple H have all kicked out of multiple F5s. What does that say about the F5?
He should bring back the Kimura lock as a submission finisher. Then he would come off like a savage.
As we're going to talk about in a minute, the hurt lock is very protected. So why not bring back another submission hold, which is just as protected?
Yeah, so to that point, Bobby Lashley locks in the hurt lock / the full Lashley on Brock Lesnar, and he's in the hold for a bit. Lesnar realizes he can't escape, kicks Lashley right below the belt, and referee Chad Patton calls for the DQ, and this Montreal crowd is pissed off because this is a Vince McMahon special right here, a DQ finish on a special pay-per-view event. But here, if you're thinking about what the trajectory of this feud was supposed to be, a DQ finish made sense because when the bell rang, Tomas got really freaking excited. I can attest to this because he was like, oh yeah, now this means we're going to see them at WrestleMania. Are we though? Before we talk about the post-match, like I just said, Lashley entered this match the heel, Lesnar as the face. I'm sorry, but kicking your opponent in the nuts because you can't get out of their submission hold is not very babyface-like. So here we have another double turn. And then Lesnar goes on a freaking rampage, F5 the referee,
F5 Lashley, and then F5 the referee through the announce table.
Which was improvised, actually. The second F5 was because Brock Lesnar felt like it. So
that ref deserves all the credit in the world for taking
Chad
two F5s.
Patton, freaking senior official. You deserve all the gold stars here.
So what are we talking about when we say the trajectory? So they threw. So this is easy. I don't understand how they fucked this up so much. You do this, sure, fine, whatever. By the way, I'm giving this match 2.5 stars because you know what? This is the best match they've had in their feud, and that's
really.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with a Chris Lash special and give it a 2. I need to go back and watch their first match from the Royal Rumble last year, because that was the one I enjoyed the most, and that was the one I was looking forward to the most because I was like, oh, this is a dream match. We've never seen it before. But then it's bogged down by interference, It's a huge missed opportunity.
I gave it the extra half star because I actually did enjoy what was going on in the match. But you do this. You have the blow off of WrestleMania. No. Because a certain someone that we're very happy to see back doesn't have any WrestleMania plans. And just randomly decided last Friday on SmackDown, Bray Wyatt has nothing to do with this feud. Just randomly got on the mic and said, Lesnar and Lashley, whoever wins this Saturday, run. So you can't just say that and not follow up on it. So we have that. But this ended in a DQ. Lesnar destroyed Lashley after the match.
He did.
This shit ain't over yet. But on Raw, apparently Omos is challenging Lesnar to a match at WrestleMania. And then let me just say this right now.
Oh, God.
This better be a fucking swerve. Because I will gladly take my ass to the bathroom during that match at WrestleMania.
Okay.
Gladly.
Bless Omos's heart. But he is not in a position right now to be wrestling Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. If he is, this is not indicative of where he is in the company or who he is as a human being. I think it's more so indicative of Triple H actually punishing Brock Lesnar. And let me tell you why. Mainly because Brock Lesnar, if you remember, when Vince McMahon initially retired last summer, Brock Lesnar threatened to walk out. And he was already booked for a main event at SummerSlam. So maybe this is Triple H getting back at him. I'm just theorizing here. I don't want to speculate too much, but what other reason? What other reason does Brock Lesnar have to wrestle the Nigerian giant at WrestleMania? This to me feels like a Vince McMahon move if I ever saw it. It really does.
If just to prove that I'm not picking on Omos, Bray Wyatt, Lesnar and Lashley has been a feud over a year in the making to culminate at WrestleMania. I'm sorry, Triple H, but just because you do not have plans for Bray Wyatt does not mean you can shoehorn into this feud with no explanation whatsoever. And I'm sorry, this is going to sound very bold, and I'm going to piss off a lot of fans by saying this, but I would rather have Bray Wyatt just sit out this WrestleMania than get shoehorned into this feud.
Ooh.
I would.
Wow.
I really would, because this makes zero sense. I have zero interest in seeing Wyatt versus Lesnar, and I have zero interest in seeing Wyatt versus Lashley, because right now, it does not make any sense.
So the plan is apparently Bray Wyatt versus Bobby Lashley, because by technicality, Lashley did win this match by disqualification.
So you just expect, and I'm not saying you, I'm just saying to make sense of this whole thing, you expect Lashley just to forget that Brock Lesnar cheated, got himself disqualified because he couldn't beat him, beat the piss out of him after the match, and Lashley's just supposed to go, oh, well, Bray Wyatt, you want to fight at WrestleMania?
Oh, of course not. Of course not. No. This feels like WrestleMania 15 booking, where they just switched up the feuds.
I pray with every being in my heart that we get swerved on Monday.
Oh,
now,
man.
The Bray Wyatt factor, I can't say much about that. That's where you got me stumped. But I am convinced we are not going to get Omos and Lesnar at WrestleMania. We can't. We absolutely cannot. That cannot happen.
Well, I mean, if that does happen, I mean, honestly, I'm just waiting for my Edge and Finn Balor Hell in a Cell match to be announced. So that's...
You want an easy fix for Omos? Bring the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal back to the main card and have Omos win.
Have him win the Jobber Battle Royal, of course. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it would make him look strong as fuck.
Yeah, but
Very
I don't
strong
know,
review.
man. I'm very
Anywho,
I'm cautiously optimistic about the
me too.
outlook of this
Me
Brock
too.
Lesnar Hurt Business debacle here, because I think the Hurt Business is coming back eventually. But
Yeah, because here's the thing. I'm very excited for what we're getting for WrestleMania, but that has me so anxious right now. So I'm very anxious to watch SmackDown when we're done and find out what the hell's going on, because Bray Wyatt's going to be on the show and we're going to get some sort of whatever direction
we're gonna get some sort of answer. We're gonna get some sort of answer. But
we
hey,
will have a definitive answer by Monday, I feel.
Hey, on the bright side of WrestleMania, before I let you get into this next match, they brought back something that I loved so much as a kid. On one specific WrestleMania, the last time they were in the City of Angels, they did WrestleMania Goes Hollywood movie trailers, where you had, and this is something Tomas and I will talk about when we talk about 21 on the retrospective, but they had like freaking Booker T and Eddie Guerrero in Pulp Fiction. They had Eugene as Forrest Gump. They had all these wrestlers coming in and do the "Are you talking to me" line from Taxi Driver. As a film buff, this is something I love even more. So to see Seth Rollins dancing around like Joaquin Phoenix's The Joker just brought so many happy butterflies into my stomach. It just made me so excited to go.
Also, I liked the touch of using a lollipop over a cigarette. That was great. That was a beautiful touch. I love that. Seth Rollins wasn't alone in this parody, was he?
Nope. He encountered the man, Becky Lynch. And that's my best Christian Bale voice. Hilarious.
She's hilarious. Becky Lynch is hilarious.
And I can't wait to see more of these WrestleMania Goes Hollywood movie trailers. I mean, if you get a Roman Reigns Bloodline Godfather trailer somewhere.
I heard they're going to do Goodfellas Bloodline.
Oh, hey, another Mafia movie that's really famous? Yeah, I'm down for that. I heard there was also going to be a Stranger Things trailer thrown in there, which doesn't make sense because that's a TV show, but...
Yeah, apparently the Judgment Day are going to do that one.
Rhea Ripley is 11, but yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that. I'm excited to see more, but...
Speaking of the Judgment Day, it's the never-ending saga that is the Judgment Day versus the Copeland family, because Edge and Beth Phoenix, the Hall of Fame grit couple, are teaming up to face the Royal Rumble winner Rhea Ripley and the Prince Finn Bálor in a much-anticipated mixed tag team match. We talked about the Royal Rumble. Edge and Beth Phoenix both returned to get their revenge on the Judgment Day. Damian Priest is busy with the Elimination Chamber, so Edge and Phoenix are teaming up to face Bálor and Ripley, and of course they have the extreme hard convict Dominic Mysterio in their corner. Edge and Phoenix got a hero's welcome into this match.
The crowd singing Edge's theme song and chanting the harshest expletives that I dare not say on the air, what they were chanting at Dominic, but this crowd did not like him. They did not like Dominic Mysterio.
Dom played his part. And also, I love that Finn Bálor is continuing to do these very weird and strange masks for his pay-per-view matches, because again, he's got the Marvel Power Rangers face shield on. It's just like, how does he see? How does he breathe out of those things? Of course, at Survivor Series, he had the spikes coming out of his face, and I'm just like, don't ever change, Bálor.
Do not ever change. Hopefully we get to see a demon entrance properly at WrestleMania, but yeah, this was a really fun match. It was a really fun mixed tag match. I really liked the exchanges between Ripley and Beth. It just this is long-term booking at its finest once again, because this is a feud that's been built up since Edge was kicked out of the Judgment Day, and including Beth into the mix, it's been since October when they killed Beth Phoenix on pay-per-view.
This is the greatest example of turning chicken salad from chicken shit into chicken salad, because Vince McMahon and Edge, it started off, this has almost been a year in the making. Edge wanted the idea of doing a Brood-like faction with some new faces in the mix at WrestleMania, when he started adding Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, and there was rumors of adding Tommaso Ciampa and Finn Bálor, to create Vince and creative wanting to change the group into a supernatural thing. Edge didn't like it, so they booted Edge from his own project and turned it into the Finn Bálor group. And then Triple H turned the entire thing around and made the Judgment Day the best faction on Monday Night Raw. turning Finn Balor into finally a credible main eventer on Raw. And let me tell you, if the titles were split, the WWE title would be around Finn Balor's waist right now.
Oh,
to turning
as sure as day.
Ripley, the most dominant female in the company, Priest to being unbelievable, amazing as the heavy, and Dominic Mysterio. So amazing.
The hardened criminal.
I told you that Dominic Mysterio would get into his niche, and he finally did. And it's amazing.
Yeah, well, we talked about this on the Rumble pod last month, but you said, and I quote, that he was more over than Hook. And I am still so much more convinced that Dominic is more over than Hook, because even then, like, the crowd was cheering for Hook when he first came around as the flavor of the month and everything like that. But now, where is Hook on your TV screens? Like, freaking
getting
vanished.
Suspended for 2 weeks for no reason. And now he's going to fight someone of Stokely Hathaway's choosing on Rampage tonight.
Great. On Rampage. Who's watching Rampage, though? Dominic is getting put through the fucking ringer by this Montreal crowd, who are chanting repeatedly, "Fuck you, Dominic." I know I said that I wouldn't say it on the air, but I just couldn't help myself. Myself. Doesn't do it justice.
Thank God this was pay-per-view, because this one got censored very heavily if this was happening on Raw.
Yes.
But Dominic gets chased out of the arena by Uncle Edge after he gets a little involved in the match. And we think that Dominic is going to hop on the first plane out of Montreal, but he literally runs like a scolded dog, as JR would say, and then comes back out a few seconds later once the coast is clear. The fans start chanting, "Fuck you, Dominic," again. And seriously, fuck Dominic Mysterio.
I know, right? I know. That's just... Gotta sneeze, but this is the worst time to need to sneeze right now. But like,
right?
Man, oh man, this freaking sucks. But he runs away like a scolded dog, exactly as you said. Ripley and Beth have a few nice more exchanges. Beth is taking the heat, as she should. She's going for the tag on Edge, but Bálor crawls underneath the ring, pulls Edge off the apron, and does the famous Finn Balor celebration where he's like, "Yeah!"
It's great. He
looks at the people looks at that guy in green in the front row. Is just like, "Yeah!"
He's having way too much fun with this gimmick, and I know people have said he's cringe, but he's not. He's hilarious.
He's like,
who could ever forget?
It's like a dad in a midlife crisis right now.
Who could ever forget after he beat Edge in an I Quit match, and then he came out on Raw and said, "I told you guys I wasn't going to quit. I'm too legit to quit." I'm like, that's great.
Legit to quit.
He's great.
So there is a dual educator from husband and wife on the Judgment Day members in the ring, and they're doing the old FTR homage, like trying to prevent each other to tap. But
Thank you, commentators, for calling it the educator, because for some reason Edge has the best names for his finishers, and they just don't want to call him that.
The Education,
the educator, the execution, the Edge-O-Matic. Come on, why are you gonna call it? He planted him. Why are you gonna call it a DDT?
It's an Impaler DDT.
No,
that's not as cool as the Execution. But there's a point where Edge. Let's see. So Edge, educator, blah, 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 blah. Dominic is distracting the referee at this point. Ripley is getting up and just hitting headbutts everywhere. And there's a point where she actually does hit Edge with a pair of brass knuckles that Dominic Mysterio also supplied.
Yeah. Ever so smoothly, Dominic is able to toss Ripley the pair of brass knuckles. And you know what? I just realized literally as we speak, that was an homage to the main event of SummerSlam 2006, where Lita slipped brass knuckles on Edge's fist to help him beat John Cena to retain the WWE title. That is an excellent callback that I just realized right now.
It's an eye for an eye, but this is where the match kind of loses points. So Edge is hit with the brass knuckles. Bálor goes for the pin, 1-2. The ref stops counting because Beth Phoenix has missed her cue. She was supposed to break it up, and it was really awkward. And my girlfriend, who was watching the show with me, is sitting there like, "Wait a minute, what happened?" And I'm like, "Oh, she missed her cue. She missed her cue."
I hated it when it happened, but then I rewatched it, and it wasn't that bad. because Edge did realize that Phoenix was late for her cue, and he kind of got the shoulder up, but a little too late. I just feel like they could have called an audible right there, and Edge could have said, thought to himself, "Where's Beth? I'm just gonna kick out."
Yeah.
But it was a lot worse than it seemed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think this match isn't losing that much points with me. It was just a little annoying when I first saw it.
The women hit the men with power bombs, avalanche power bombs, which is really awesome. The Glamazon hitting Finn Balor with a power bomb. There's a tease of a concerto to Beth Phoenix once again on the steel steps, but the baby faces are able to fight back. Ripley is hit with a glam slam on the floor, pretty much eradicating her from this match. You're welcome.
Which is good, because Ripley is challenging for the Raw Women's title, and they need to protect her.
Yeah.
So I think this match went exactly the way I went, because Balor is thrown back in the ring. He's hit with the spear, and then Edge and Phoenix hit the shatter machine. I was not expecting that. That was so fucking cool. And they called it that too. A little shout out to their good friends, FTR.
Yes, because FTR did train Edge, or they helped train Edge during his return to the ring, one of his many returns to the ring.
They are really good friends, but have you noticed, ever since Edge has returned and FTR has left WWE, Edge has been sliding little but ever so subtle references to them.
Oh, yeah.
When Seth Rollins invaded their house, he said, "Oh, call FTR by their real names." He called them by their real names, and he said, "Call them," because they live in the same area as Edge and Beth Phoenix do.
Practically
and
neighbors.
Call back to, the tap out, reach out spot, which is FTR's specialty, and then the shatter machine. So, I don't know. Maybe the revival's on their way back to WWE.
Maybe FTR wants to make more money, but oh, man. You and I had very differing opinions at first on this match, but ever since Finn Balor came out and cost Edge the U.S. title in an open challenge on Raw, I've kind of softened on it a little bit. But if Rhea Ripley won the Royal Rumble, shouldn't she technically not be losing at all on the road to WrestleMania?
I prefer her just not to get pinned, because whatever, she can move on to her thing. She didn't get pinned. She's still pretty protected. Finn Balor has been built so strong these past 6 months that I think he can afford a loss. And like I said before, I would rather Finn Balor lose the battle, but win the war. Because come WrestleMania, this feud is over. It has to be over. It's been a year in the making.
Well,
again, Triple H.
Edge thinks it's over. Edge thinks it's over, like per the post-show press conference. He wants to put Judgment Day in his rearview mirror, but I'm like, WrestleMania is on the horizon. You can't end your feud with the Judgment Day a month before WrestleMania. No. You just can't. So that's why I think I'm still waiting on the announcement of Edge and Balor. I'm hoping it's Hell in a Cell, like it was rumored a couple months ago. But just because I need to redeem myself seeing a Hell in a Cell match live, because the last one I saw ended quite terribly in the arena.
It was pretty damn good, though.
No, fuck that match. But
here's the thing: you can't have a blow off in a mixed tag team match. It needs to be Edge and Balor, no interference, no Dom, no Priest, no Ripley, no Phoenix, no Mysterio, no Ray, no anybody. This ends in the cell, and I want Balor to win the war. I'm actually going to give this match 3 3/4 stars. It was very entertaining.
I'm going to go 3.5 on this one. It was very fun. I think it loses a lot of points for the missed cues here and there, but the big one, of course, being that near fall. But I think it was still very, very fun for what it was. It was very serviceable. But here we go. Oh, man, this is one I was excited for. For the first time in history, the United States Championship is being defended inside the Elimination Chamber. Austin Freakin Theory going up against the Damian Freakin Priest, against Bronson Freakin Reed, against Montez Freakin Ford, against Seth Freakin Rollins, against Johnny Freakin Wrestling. You can do it with anybody.
A lot of freakins in this match.
I know. There's a lot of freaking.
Rewatching this match, every single person in this match, let me just double check that. Yes, every single person in this match came from Triple H's NXT.
Yep.
How freaking cool is that?
This was just a delightful Elimination Chamber match. It's might honestly be one of my favorites as I'm thinking more and more about it, just because all the caliber of wrestling in here was freaking incredible. Seth Rollins and Johnny Gargano started this match out, and that is a dream match Like, give me those two for half an hour, please. Like,
let me ask you something though. Where the hell was this Johnny Gargano for the past 6 months? Because this felt like Johnny Gargano reborn. Because love the man to death. Ever since he's came back, he's been doing comedy bits with The Miz and Dexter Lumis and jobbing to Omos almost to the point where I was starting to lose a little faith in him. But this was the Johnny freaking wrestling that we all know and love. And he put on the performance of the night. I'm sorry. Say what you want about Montez Ford. He put on the performance of the night.
He sure did. Yeah. Say what you want about having faith in Gargano, but nobody will do it for you. Johnny Gargano, obviously, he's my boy. He's my boy. I got to support him. And, like, seeing him come out in Punisher colors again was really cool. Him and Seth Rollins put on a beautiful clinic in there. Him and Seth both, I think, were the MVPs of the match.
Sequence.
Yeah. It was so good.
Opening sequence.
God, I want those two in a WrestleMania match, but I know I'm not getting it this year. But
not this year, maybe next year.
Yeah, Gargano with a spear. Gargano with a spear on Rollins to the outside, and that, like, if that was the old school Elimination Chamber, that would have hurt like piss. But up next is the defending U.S. champion Austin Theory at number 3. There's a great spot where Theory tries to hide back in his pod. Gargano is chasing him, and he's like, haha, I closed the doors. You can't get back to me. But then Seth Rollins is behind him. They both open the doors, and they start pummeling him.
They start beating the shit out of Theory because everyone in this match, Michael Cole, he was on it tonight. He was on fire when it came to the historian stuff because he pointed out at the beginning of the match that Austin Theory and Johnny Gargano had their bond in the way. And then he mentioned that Bronson Reed beat Johnny Gargano for the North American Championship.
He did. No,
Johnny Gargano.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. He explained the whole lineage. He said that Johnny Gargano defeated Damian Priest to win the North American Championship, and then Bronson Reed beat Gargano for the North American title.
Did he beat Priest?
He did, in a triple threat with Leon Ruff.
That's right. That's right. See, I was thinking of the ladder match that they had in the Performance Center, but I was like, obviously that was a very, very different match. I forgot about Leon Ruff, man. God, but Gargano, again, this is great professional wrestling here with Austin Theory added into the mix because, believe it or not, Austin Theory is really good at this pro wrestling thing at such a young age, and his ceiling is so high. So freaking high.
Good. And I'm gonna go on a
we're going into a Theory love party here on the channel.
Yes, we actually are. I'm gonna go on a Theory loving party at the end of this match because I was so impressed by Theory, and this is why Theory is on the correct path that he needed to be on. Up next was my pick to win this match, the Colossus, Monday Night Raw's resident thick boy, Bronson Reed. And
I have Damian Priest coming in before Bronson.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. I guess I was really excited to talk about Bronson Reed.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Priest is coming in here as the powerhouse of the bunch, and he's hitting flatliners on Gargano. Really beautiful broken arrow sequence. Priest hitting Seth Rollins with a kill switch for a nice near fall, which is really cool. One thing I remember about Damian Priest coming into the match is my girlfriend just loving all the purple on him. And I was like, yeah, like that's the Judgment Day's color. They're just purple,
Let me give you a friendly reminder. She doesn't like the Judgment Day. She likes purple.
No, she likes the Judgment Day. So
I asked her, I said, I heard you really like the Judgment Day. And she goes, oh, purple? Yeah, I really like purple.
So if you like, hold on. So if you like purple, then you must therefore also like the Judgment Day. Shouldn't that also mean
correct.
Like if you like purple, then you should like the Undertaker?
Yes.
What about if you like blue, then you've got to like the Shield. The Shield, like that logic.
Yes.
So anyway, not to get too off topic here. The fans are chanting this is awesome at this point, and it
really is
an awesome match. Now Bronson Reed comes into the match, I'm seeing.
I love Bronson Reed. You guys have known way back in my NXT reviews. I love Bronson Reed. I'm so happy that he's back. Kind of a flat reaction when he first came back, and I was a little scared. But they have been building this guy like a freaking monster, as they should, because Bronson Reed is a freaking monster, and he is throwing everybody all over the place. Did he tackle Theory through a pod? I feel like he did.
Let's see. He might have done it later, but Not as he came in. He hits a double Samoan. He hit a double Samoan drop. I'm sorry, on Rollins and Gargano at the same time.
What an amazing feat of strength!
What a savage
Bronson
he
Reed
is.
he's a star. He's a star in the making. I'm so happy he is back in WWE. Was a little shaky on the heel thing at first, but he's a colossus.
Put the U.S. title on him eventually. Fuck it. But speaking of people who need to go out on their own, it's Montez Ford going out to the ring in gear that was revealed to have been made by his wife, Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair, which I thought was an awesome little piece of trivia. Montez Ford came off like a freaking star in this thing, too. Say what you want about everybody else, but this was his time to shine, and he did so well.
If this was his test, then he passed with flying colors, because Ford was a freaking house of fire. And you know what? Let's talk about that spot. He is climbing. I think he's about to get powerbombed by Theory, but he escapes by climbing up the chamber wall, and then he continues to climb. And then I immediately got scared because I started thinking of Homicide climbing the side of the Terror Dome in TNA. And I'm just like, you're not going, or when Kalisto did it in the Elimination Chamber in 2015, I'm like, you're not going to the very top of that, right? Because that's dangerous. Thankfully, he doesn't. He goes to like the second layer of the chain wall, and then he flips himself upside down like he's freaking Miles Morales Spider-Man, and then he just drops down onto everyone, and that was absolutely insane.
Everybody was there to catch him. I can't believe you didn't mention John Morrison in that crux of names, because I was actually there live when John Morrison was climbing the dome of the chamber, and he landed on top of King Sheamus.
Was that 2011?
It was 2011, yeah. I was in the audience for that one. Yeah, John Morrison. Yeah, no, it was oh man, it's a moment I'll never forget. It was so cool. But yeah, Montez does the Spider-Man thing, and everybody is thankfully there to gracefully catch him. And now this is the point where everybody gangs up on Bronson Reed. Johnny Gargano hits a reverse Rana on him. Much to Tomas.
Let's talk about that spot real quick.
God, fucking Reed scary, wasn't it?
Gargano up in an electric chair, and it looks like Rollins is going to hit him with the Doomsday Device. He hits him with the Doomsday Device. Gargano is able to flip Reed over. Gargano doesn't land on his head, but he spikes Reed with a Poison Rana, and that is the strength of Gargano. Gargano was unfreaking real in this match. And here's the thing. I wanted Reed to win, but I also said if he's not going to win, there's only one way to eliminate him, and that's with the chain of finishers. He gets hit with the super kick. He gets hit with the one final beat. He gets hit with
the curb stomp.
The curb stomp, and then he gets hit with the catch out from Ford. And I'm like, I knew it. That was the only way you're going to get rid of him.
Montez Ford pins Bronson Reed. First time Bronson Reed's been pinned on the main roster, and the crowd is chanting "nah, nah, nah, nah" on his way out the door. And I'm like,
much as I wanted Reed to win, that was the right way to eliminate him because he's still a freaking monster.
Yeah,
and they're going to continue to book him like a monster.
And then the match becomes even more insane. So Rollins and Gargano are sitting on top of the pod, and they're like, oh my God, yeah, this is a freaking awesome match. And then they start beating the crap out of each other after they have a nice little friendly moment.
The shit out of Gargano. Did anyone else
not very
that?
Nice.
He just
not very nice. Yeah, no, so, it was.
Tell us what happens next, because it's fucking insane.
So Rollins has Gargano in position for a powerbomb off the pod, which is a crazy thought in and of itself. But thankfully, Johnny's able to reverse it, hits another Poison Rana, and Rollins falls onto the whole pile right on the outside. Gargano almost lands on his fucking head. I thought he was dead. I was looking at him. I'm like, oh my God, one of my favorite wrestlers just freaking killed himself in the Elimination Chamber. That is, no. The crowd is chanting, this is awesome. Gargano and Damian Priest are in the ring, and Priest hits a damn razor's edge to ruin my night and eliminate Johnny Wrestling. So,
yeah, it was. I get it. I get it. Just hopefully as time comes soon. We wanted Gargano and Theory at WrestleMania, but obviously they have bigger plans for Theory. Should the championship be involved?
No,
no. For you to decide.
Absolutely not.
Here's the thing, though. The decision's out of our hands. It might not be. More on that later.
Yeah. More
so Gargano's out.
Yeah, Gargano's
It
out.
sucks,
He's gonna win like all these championships down the line. He's got a while left in the industry. So,
I know.
then Rollins and Ford team up to eliminate Damian Priest. There is a nice blockbuster on Priest. Montez Ford also pins him. So you might notice Montez Ford is getting put over strong in this thing by pinning two of the big guys. So
And
both big
Angelo
guys.
Dawkins approves of them using the Street Profits finisher to get rid of Priest, which was pretty cool.
Yep. Well, you got to do whatever you can. And then I was sitting here and I was thinking, fuck it, just put the title on Ford. Why not? It's the U.S. title. This is, like, it's a prestigious thing, but Austin Theory versus John Cena at WrestleMania, not to bury the lead, does not need the title on the line. It just adds the predictability.
Yeah, I get it. Ford is a house of fire, and this is his last sprint. He is, I don't know how he gets the energy. He's like the Energizer Bunny. He is hitting plancha after plancha after plancha on Theory and Rollins. Unfortunately, he gets a little too excited, and he eats an A-Town down and a curb stomp on the floor outside the chamber. We knew Ford was dead in the water after that.
He was done.
Theory's able to get the pin and eliminate Ford. The chamber doors open, and the referee's coming to check on Ford because he took a pretty nasty bump. That was all kayfabe, by the way. Montez Ford is completely fine. He even confirmed on Twitter he's all good.
I knew this was a gimmick as soon as that chamber door was left open, and I wanted Theory and Rollins to have a nice one-on-one sequence here, even though we've seen it a million times on Monday Night Raw. I wanted them to have an epic conclusion, but we didn't really get a ton. What happened? You want to talk about it? I'll let you take it away.
I'll take that burden off your shoulders. Yeah. The minute that chamber door opened and they went to take out Ford, the first thing I thought was, okay, where's Logan Paul?
Yep.
And as Rollins is setting Theory up for a curb stomp, as you know, the walking pile of trash appears. He does a buckshot lariat, and Theory hits the A-Town down, and Theory retains the United States Championship. So we all know it's going to be Logan Paul versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. The minute the Royal Rumble happened, we all knew that.
God, Seth Rollins having to wrestle an abortion at WrestleMania is not my cup of tea.
And he's going to make that abortion look like $1 million because he's Seth fucking Rollins, and he makes anybody look good.
He better win. He better beat the crap out of him.
It's our favorite wrestler versus our least favorite person on the planet. But before I get into that, I loved how strong Theory was booked in this match. He did mostly everything on his own, and it's like Triple H said, all right, old man, you really want to push Austin Theory? I'm going to show you how it's done. We're going to take away that briefcase, and he's going to earn it. He's going to start cutting grittier promos. He's going to have to go out there and produce excellent matches every weekend on pay-per-view, and he has to look like a strong contender. And you know what? He is.
He really is. He stands on top of the pod holding that beautiful championship belt aloft. He has conquered the Elimination Chamber. Looking to go on to face John Cena at WrestleMania because they've been teasing it for a while. Theory's been throwing out John Cena catchphrases saying the champ is here in the ring. He's also alluded to the ruthless aggression line.
Theory even brought up Cena during the press conference, a la CM Punk, because nobody was talking about Cena, and Theory just brought him up. And Cena is confirmed to be on next week's Monday Night Raw, not this coming Monday, but the following Monday in Boston. It's going to happen. I get why they want the championship involved because Cena made that championship.
And it's also like Austin Theory is spoofing Cena by putting on U.S. Open challenges these next few weeks. And he's,
they are putting Theory in the ring with this generation's Hulk Hogan. If that doesn't tell you they're ready to launch this guy into outer space, I don't know what will. I know there's a lot of people saying Cena has dropped a lot of matches and he shouldn't beat Theory, but as a fellow Cena maniac growing up loving Cena, Theory needs to beat him. This is going to be the biggest win in his career. And
it
I don't
absolutely
think Cena
is.
benefits. Cena beats Theory, then what? Then what?
No.
Cena goes back to Hollywood.
Cena goes back and films season 2 of The Peacemaker, and he has a nice little championship belt up in the trailer where Eagle is sitting. So, an Eagle championship belt to match his pet Eagle as the Peacemaker.
A pet Eagle that can hug. He has it on camera.
Yes. Don't forget that Eagly gives great hugs. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking
dope.
Yeah,
fucking dope. It would be to see Cena in the Peacemaker costume with the United States Championship. No,
that'd be fun. It'd be fun. But yeah, Austin Theory, I'm sure he's looking hell of a lot forward to this match because he grew up idolizing John Cena as well, just like R-Truth did, just like both of us did. But it's all good.
This
4.5 stars.
4.5 stars.
Yep.
Yeah.
I fucking love this Elimination Chamber. If you want just a single Elimination Chamber match to go and watch, I would definitely put this on your list of ones to binge if you're on an Elimination Chamber craze, because this was
everybody played their part so well. And I know Montez Ford, this is his night, and he did put on an excellent performance. The MVP was Johnny Gargano. Johnny freaking Wrestling is back.
Oh, that's my boy.
I was so happy to see that. Because, again, these past 6 months, he hasn't really done anything. And I know his plans got put through the wood chipper since Tommaso Ciampa unfortunately got injured. But it was this is the Gargano I want to see. This is the Gargano I want to see every freaking week on Raw.
I will cheer for.
I want to see win the WWE Championship.
I will cheer for Johnny Gargano until the cows come home. Johnny Gargano is greater than CM Punk. Everybody,
he is.
He is. Yeah. So he's like CM Punk without an attitude problem.
Yeah. You can say that again.
And a better wrestler too.
Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. The match, the most anticipated main event.
Let's get serious.
A very, very long time. A month before WrestleMania. This is the culmination of a feud that's been going on since May of last year. And it's not over yet. This is just the climax for the undisputed WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship of the world, as Paul Heyman would say. Roman Reigns defends against the hometown boy, no longer the honorary Uce, the honorary Sami Zayn himself.
Yeah.
And Roman Reigns makes the first entrance because they knew what this crowd was going to do. Sami Zayn comes out to his old theme song, Worlds Apart.
Yep.
To the most thunderous, and I mean thunderous reaction he ever could have got. He's gotten in his entire career. As a wrestling fan, let me just say this right now. I understand, as an adult and in this new modern age of wrestling, we know that the WWE has plans, and those plans aren't going to get interrupted. But I'm going to take a quote from The Undertaker's interview he did this week. Wrestling fans nowadays are more concerned about what's going on backstage than what's actually being presented in the ring. So for one night, I took my smart knowledge of the internet and all of the backstage dirt sheets. I put that to the side and I told myself, personally, I want Sami Zayn to win the Universal Championship because the setting, the atmosphere was like no other. You could not ask for a better environment for a main event world championship match than you got here.
There's a reason why this show is booked for Montreal, because they probably knew a long time ago that Sami Zayn was getting this shot at this specific pay-per-view. And Sami Zayn's wife was at ringside. This was such an emotionally driven main event that I'm sure is going to be on a lot of people's top 10 matches of the year list by the time the year comes to a close. But these two got 32 minutes, and it was fantastic storytelling.
32 minutes, but I'm convinced that 5 or 6 of those minutes was just Zayn and Reigns staring at each other.
They were just staring each other down at the beginning of the match. The bell rings, and they were just circling each other. The crowd is chanting, "Fuck you, Roman," on the left, and then they're singing "Ole" over here. It's like...
I was just going to say, the pop that Zayn got was amazing, but don't let that take away from the heat that Roman Reigns got in this match.
And he fucking loved it. He fucking loved a bit of that heat.
Heels would kill to have the amount of heat that Roman Reigns got that night. And this was a beautifully wrestled match, and it was a beautifully told story because Roman Reigns, he digs into this part of him that just knows how to fuck with the crowd. And in this match, he's getting up, he's jaw-jacking with the crowd saying, "Is that all you got? Just a couple of Sami chants? Like, come on, Montreal, you can do a lot worse than that." And he got it because he just got rained with insults.
Don't forget that he's taunting Sami Zayn's wife, who's sitting at ringside as well, and like has to take every like opportunity to do so. And
during the ring announcements, by the way, Samantha Irving is wonderful. While they are announcing Sami Zayn's name, and he's getting up in Roman Reigns' face, and the referee has to hold him back, Roman Reigns kisses at him just to fuck with him. And oh my God, Roman Reigns he's so good. He is so damn good.
Freaking love that man. I never thought I would say I love Roman Reigns, but I have a whole new appreciation for him since he's turned heel. But in any regard, these two, he is. I acknowledge him. These two went in there and they put on a freaking clinic for 32 minutes. Just not only of pure storytelling, but you got freaking awesome wrestling in there as well. They were brawling on the outside. They were going towards like the ringside area. They were going for chairs and all that. It was just wonderful. Sami Zayn got so many amazing near falls. And I think I said this at the Rumble Pod. Roman Reigns is the master of kicking out at 2.999999.
He is.
At the last possible millimeter. He is the master of kicking out at the closest moment. Which,
you know, this match panned out in my mind exactly the way I thought it would, except for the finish. I'm not getting into the finish now. I just wanted to put that out there. But we knew that Sami Zayn was setting up for the haluva kick. But then he looks at his fist and he realizes I can hit him with the Superman punch.
Oh,
and that made me nervous.
Stolen finishers! Stolen finishers!
The Superman punch that only stuns Reigns, and then he hits Reigns with the haluva kick. He goes for the pin, and as you said, at 2.9 3/4 kicks out. I think that was the closest Sami Zayn got to winning the championship.
Tomas jumped out of his seat. He jumped out of his seat when that near fall happened. He was so nervous this whole match. I was sitting there. I was just sitting back, and I was like, Triple H, just give me your best shot. I'm going to go ahead and enjoy this. Because this is the best storyline we've gotten on WWE programming in a long time. This Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens bloodline debacle. And then, like, adding Cody Rhodes into the mix, and we'll talk about him in a bit here because he was not on this show. But, I mean, that haluva kick, man, I thought Sami hit it, and I was like, that's got to be it. And then Roman kicked out. Oh, this was messing with my emotions. It was messing with my emotions so much because, okay, let me address something. I have been very strongly in the corner of being like, yeah, Cody Rhodes is going to be the one. He's going to dethrone Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, and everything's going to be all happy. But I was sitting here watching this, and I was like, can we just enjoy a moment of Sami Zayn? Like, I don't care. I don't care if Roman Reigns has there's been a couple of wrestling podcasters who have said this. I don't care that Roman Reigns has held the championship for over 900 days. If Sami Zayn beats him 6 weeks before WrestleMania, fine. That's okay. If you want to still do Roman versus Cody Rhodes, you can do that. You can have Roman win the championship back. But I
know that's not the plan. They're not going to do it. I get it. But for one night, just let us be fans and hope for something that we want. Because that place would have erupted. And I mean erupted. Roman Reigns is able to hit a Superman punch. He's able to, I think he goes for the spear, but then Zayn counters it into a Blue Thunder Bomb, which gets another very, very near fall. And I know,
that was such a pretty Blue Thunder Bomb too, wasn't it?
If I'm going to nitpick just a little bit. I knew, okay, I was like, if Reigns is going to kick out of the haluva, he's not going down to the Blue Thunder. So I kind of wish they would have swapped that and just have him hit the Blue Thunder Bomb first, just to like build up that tension. Because
I see what you're saying, because the haluva kick is Sami Zayn's finisher, technically.
Yeah.
The Blue Thunder Bomb is a signature maneuver if we're talking WWE 2K vocabulary here. But then this is where the Usos get involved. After the Blue Thunder Bomb, I was very shocked to see both of them because Jimmy was told to stay at home. I thought that was basically going to be them writing him off because apparently, you know, a bunch of DUIs don't allow you out of the country. So the fact that Jimmy Uso was on this show was a shock in and of itself. Attacked Sami Zayn, the swerve of all swerves, But then you have his twin brother Jay coming down to even the odds. Tag team partner, co-tag team champion.
I think we missed an important spot before that because Reigns, something happens and they end up on the outside. Reigns goes for a spear. Zayn moves out of the way and he goes careening through the barricade.
That's right. Which
is a fun callback to the Royal Rumble where Reigns hit the spear on Kevin Owens through the barricade. But it's like Zayn remembered that from the Rumble and he avoided it.
Oh, and I was just about to get into the callbacks, and that's a great one. Yeah, that's a great one right there.
Throws Reigns in the ring, hits another haluva kick, another near fall, but then this is when the Uso stuff happens. There's also a lot of ref bumps because Reigns backs Zayn up into the corner. The referee gets, unfortunately, caught in the middle of that. He takes some elbows and he goes down. That's when Jimmy comes in, tries to even the odds.
Man, between this and the Lesnar-Lashley match, I hope the refs were getting bonuses for all the punishment they were taking on this card.
Yeah, a lot of people complained that this finish was overbooked, but I just feel like with the emotion and how they were trying to keep these guys protected, I didn't mind it.
I didn't mind it either.
At all, honestly.
I don't mind overbooking if it's done right. And with Hunter in the chair, I mean, I don't doubt him. I don't doubt him to book it correctly. So, yeah, the Usos get involved. Jay is okay. This is the callback I wanted to get into. Roman has a steel chair, and he tells Jay in a direct mirror image from the month before. He presents the chair to Jey Uso, and he says, "Prove your loyalty to the bloodline. You will acknowledge me, and you will hit Sami with that steel chair." Because remember, this all started back in the Thunderdome era with main event Jey Uso. He was the first one to fall in line. And
damn right it did.
The fact that this whole arc has come this full circle, Jey Uso is a tortured soul going through a humongous episode of PTSD right now. This is such a layered and relatable character.
Because there's a lot of people also harking back all the way to Night of Champions and Hell in a Cell from 2020, where Reigns in the beginning was just abusing Jay, and he's doing the same to him. He's like shoving him in the face and telling him, like, "Come on, what are you doing? Hurry up and do it." And like that's when again the PTSD starts coming back into Jay. And I feel like he's able to hide behind Jimmy, to hide behind Paul Heyman, to hide behind Solo Sikoa. But you take all those factors out of the equation, and it's right back to where Jay started in the summer of 2020.
Oh, and this leads to the heartbreaking point, and it's actually kind of not exactly where I was expecting they would go on this show. So Sami runs at Roman Reigns, charges at the Tribal Chief. Roman, with the presence of mind, moves out of the way. Sami accidentally spears Jey Uso, and that opens the door for Roman Reigns to hit a spear. 1, 2, 3. And you could feel the air in the Bell Center just completely deflate. Like
the fans weren't even angry. They were just disappointed. They showed so many camera shots of just disappointed fans. And you know what? Again, I hate hearing so much of this. Well, Sami Zayn was always going to lose. I get that. But you're never, ever again going to get that genuine reaction out of the crowd.
You're not going to get this opportunity again to crown Sami Zayn. This was the perfect point to do it.
Have some fun watching wrestling for once in your life.
Have some fun. Yeah. And let me give you a little bit of a history lesson here. So let's rewind the clock. 1999. The plan after Survivor Series was always going to be The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin in the main event of WrestleMania that year. Did that necessarily mean that The Rock was supposed to hold the big gold belt up until Mania from Survivor Series in the Deadly Game? He didn't, because a little-known face known as Mick Foley came along. And Mick Foley pinned The Rock on not even the Royal Rumble. It was a random episode of Monday Night Raw right at the start of 1999. And Mick Foley did not hold that title for more than a month. And they would actually volley that championship up until The Rock won it in February, the night after St. Valentine's Day Massacre. And then that set the main event in motion with Stone Cold. So you can't sit here and tell me that we could not have just gotten a little moment with Sami Zayn. Like, he could have lost it on the next episode of SmackDown. He could have lost it tonight. And
you know what?
We would have still had that moment.
I was actually even pitching a dusty finish. Zayn could have got the pin, and they could have done some bullshit to restart the match. But
a dusty finish for Cody Rhodes to build up to Cody Rhodes. Yeah.
I will get into that in a minute. You know, we could have had some more fun with this. I didn't mind the finish that they went with. And another complaint I've been hearing about, which I this is just another example of be patient. Everyone is saying like, oh, we don't know where Jay's allegiance is now. How come they didn't do that? How come we didn't turn on Roman Reigns? I'm like, guys, the story is not over yet, one. And number two, Jay and Jimmy are still the tag team champions. Jay just can't turn on the bloodline while he holds 2 sets of tag team titles with his brother.
You're right. You're right. And I thought that was where the Jey Uso turn on Sami Zayn was going to happen in Montreal. Get the maximum amount of heat on the Usos possible so that we would still feel better when Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens eventually beat the Usos for the tag team titles. And then we can feel happy enough that Cody Rhodes beats Roman Reigns. And that's the whole disintegration of the bloodline at WrestleMania.
So let it happen. Because here's the thing. Why would Jay turn on the bloodline here and then just go, hey, Jimmy, I know it's awkward, but we still got to defend our tag team titles. Guys, the story is not over yet.
It's not over.
They're acting like
they're going to do a slow burn. They're going to do a slow burn, which, speaking of, they do send the crowd home happy, theoretically, on this show, because Roman and Jimmy want to kick the shit out of Sami some more. When Kevin Owens' music hits, we haven't seen him since he was beat to a bloody pulp at the Royal Rumble. He comes out, evens the odds for Sami Zayn, hits both Jimmy and Roman with a stunner. Sami hits Roman with a haluva kick, and they play Sami's music to end the show. But there is no embrace of Sami and Kevin yet. Kevin has not forgiven Sami yet. So they're going to build up. They're going to build up to that reunion.
We have 4 weeks until WrestleMania. Don't worry. SmackDown or on Raw, we will get our match. Don't worry. It's going to happen. Not everything needs to happen at once. Yeah. I know we're not used to Triple H's style of booking, but just be patient. Also forgot to mention, Paul Heyman took a beautiful stunner.
Oh, he did. He did. That's right. Yeah, because Paul Heyman tried to sneak up on Kevin Owens and tried to beat him on the shoulder, and Kevin's like, really? he's looking at Paul Heyman like 2011 Miz saying, really? And then he goes ahead and hits Paulie with a stunner. Much better looking stunner than the one Vince took last year at WrestleMania, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see how they actually build up to this tag team title match at WrestleMania. And once they do, Roman and Cody's going to main event at WrestleMania Sunday. That's out of the question. But WrestleMania Saturday, I think, should be headlined by that tag team title match. Just because Sami Zayn, like, I don't even want to put Cody Rhodes into the question right now. He is the hottest babyface in the company. Like,
he is.
He deserves the main event.
He's hotter than Cody Rhodes, in my opinion, even though Cody Rhodes is very well up there. He's hotter than Bray Wyatt. He's hotter than Edge. He's hotter than any other big babyface in the company right now.
And can I also say something to that Cody Rhodes point? I know there were some people who were concerned about Cody not getting as good of a reaction as he was this past week or so. That's because they were in Canada. That's Sami Zayn country. So, like, I think Cody's going to be fine. They go back to the States. Like, the night after the Royal Rumble when he was wrestling Finn Bálor, he was getting so many cheers. The crowd was so happy to see Cody Rhodes. So I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be fine. Situation.
So here's my idea for WrestleMania, and I feel like this is going to make everyone – I want to see everyone freak the fuck out. You do a dusty finish, but this is just an example. Because this is Cody we're talking about, and he would love to pay tribute to his father. Roman Reigns hits Cody Rhodes with the pair of brass knucks while the referee is down, hits a spear. 1, 2, 3. Roman Reigns retains the Universal Championship, holds both belts above his head. Fireworks go off and everything. The referee finds the brass knucks, and he asks to see the replay. They show what happens. The referee argues with Paul Heyman. He argues with Roman Reigns. Restart the match. Cody Rhodes hits a crossroads. Cody Rhodes wins the Universal Championship.
Hits 3 crossroads.
Imagine that finish.
He has to hit Roman Reigns with a lot of crossroads to win that belt. Let's be fair, but
it's just an idea.
If they want to torture us and give me a heart attack in the stands, then they can certainly do that. But I mean, I'd rather.
That's what I want to see, honestly.
I would rather leave. I would
cool.
rather leave SoFi Stadium in one piece and at peace that Cody Rhodes is the champion. But we'll see. We'll see, man.
It's an idea. I just thought, considering it's his dad's finisher, it's his finish, the Dusty finish. I think it would be really cool just to give everyone a heart attack, because why not?
Yeah, but
it'd be a nice adrenaline rush.
Yeah, it would be a nice adrenaline rush in my soul. But as far as this main event of the Elimination Chamber goes, Roman and Sami, 4 3/4 stars. This was awesome. Only reason it's not 5 is because Sami didn't win. And I understand.
I'm giving it 4.5 because Sami Zayn didn't win. And also, I don't know. I feel like the finish was just a little flat. I didn't mind everything else going up to it. I just think, I don't know, it was right after that, beat down with the chairs and then a spear and then just like, I mean, that's just me being nitpicky. So 4.5 stars for me. This was a damn good match, though. You couldn't ask for a better story. You couldn't ask for a better environment.
It's a match of the year contender for sure. And with the men's chamber, I honestly could call that a match of the year contender as well. But this is a damn good show, man. I'll match the Royal Rumble score, 8.75. Just
I'm
because
going to go with an 8 out of 10. This was a very enjoyable show.
All right.
I don't want to give it too high marks because it wasn't perfect. And also, we got WrestleMania on the horizon. This is the last stop on the road to WrestleMania. Still an excellent show. My friend, I am hyped.
Me too.
We are a month away from WrestleMania.
We are, but that's not all. We're actually, so in addition to Unforgiven 04, and I'd also like to say we're going to review No Way Out 2001 on this pod, Tomas and I will be going to AEW Revolution next Sunday at the Chase Center. And you better believe we're going to have a lot of stories to discuss. Tomas is going to be going to Dynamite that next week. And then end of the month, we're going to be in Los Angeles, my friend. We're going to go to Ring of Honor the night before WrestleMania. And then
we're going to WrestleCon that morning. And we are going to be at both nights of WrestleMania. If anyone would like to meet up, please let us know. We want to meet as many fans as possible.
Absolutely.
We're trying to meet our favorite YouTubers, our favorite personnel there. It's going to be a week to not forget, because it's just going to be the craziest week of my life. And I can't wait. That's going to be the next WWE pay-per-view. And you know what? We might have something a little special for you guys in mind, because we're going to have our phones. We're going to be taking a lot of pictures. We're going to be recording a lot of footage. So yeah, we'll see what we can do for you guys.
All right. Well, I will, I'll try and see how much I can record for you guys, but, hit that thumbs up button if you want to see more. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 2,000 over here, which is freaking insane. Let's see if we can get to 2,000 by 2024. I think that's a reasonable enough goal. But yeah, stay tuned for more reviews very soon. We're in WrestleMania fever. Stay tuned for the next one, guys. See you soon.